Chosen one. Heaven has paused everything around you. This is not coincidence. This is not the algorithm. This is divine interruption. Something sacred is happening in your timeline. And if you can feel that trembling inside your spirit right now, that is confirmation. You are the one this message was meant to reach. Listen carefully. The moment you are living in right now is not ordinary time. It is holy ground disguised as an ordinary day. There are moments in human history when heaven bends close enough for one soul to hear what the rest of the world ignores. You are in such a moment. You are the interruption, God's interruption to darkness, to despair, to the hopeless patterns of this world. For months, perhaps even years, you have sensed that something is shifting. The things that used to satisfy you no longer do. The places that once felt comfortable now feel too small. You've outgrown the season you were in. And heaven is the reason. Because before an angel arrives, the atmosphere always trembles. Before divine movement touches the earth, God begins stirring the hearts of his chosen ones. Maybe lately you've felt restless, like something is calling you higher, but you can't yet see what it is. That's not anxiety. That's not confusion. That is divine preparation. Heaven is setting your spirit in alignment for an encounter that will change the trajectory of your life. You have not been abandoned. You have been positioned. Every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every moment you thought was wasted, it was all part of the divine arrangement to get you here. The delay wasn't denial, it was orchestration. The silence wasn't absence, it was strategy. God has been waiting for this exact second to open your ears. There are times when God sends people to deliver a message, but there are rare moments when he sends an angel, and this, chosen one, is one of those rare moments. The angel is already on the way. Heaven has already signed the dispatch order, and that's why the air around you feels heavy. The atmosphere feels pregnant with something you can't name. You have felt the weight of unseen warfare, haven't you? Every time you tried to move forward, something invisible pushed back. Every time you felt peace, something stirred, chaos. That is because your obedience threatens the enemy. Darkness panics when light begins to rise. And you, child of light, are rising. Do not give up now. Do not retreat. Heaven is about to prove that you were never forgotten. This angelic visitation will not come to flatter you. It comes to instruct, to protect, and to confirm that your prayers were heard. There are instructions sealed for your name alone, and they are coming through divine courier. Chosen one, hear this. Your struggle was never punishment, it was preparation. The rejection you endured was heaven's redirection. The heartbreak that almost broke you was the hammer that shaped your destiny. You were being refined, not ruined. You were being purified, not punished. The Spirit of the Lord says, you are entering a divine interruption. Your routines will be disturbed. Your comfort will be shaken. But in the shaking, I am birthing revelation. The messenger is near. As you read these words, something within you stirs the ancient recognition that you are not from here. You were sent to this realm to carry light. That's why your soul feels homesick for heaven. That's why earthly things never fully satisfy you. You are chosen to bridge the divine and the human. You are chosen to walk among the ordinary, carrying extraordinary power. Remember this truth. When God sends an angel, it is not because you are weak, it is because your assignment is strong. Angels appear not where there is failure, but where there is fulfillment. You are stepping into fulfillment now. Lift your eyes from what went wrong. Heaven is moving. You have stepped into prophetic timing. You will begin to notice unusual coincidences, repeating numbers, and divine nudges. In the next few days, these are not random. These are heaven's breadcrumbs, guiding you toward the encounter. So take a deep breath. You are not behind schedule. You are right on time. The delay you thought destroyed your dreams was actually synchronizing you with the pace of eternity. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 91, verse 11. For he shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. Chosen one. If you can feel this message stirring your heart, don't ignore it. Heaven is confirming that you are seen, that you are marked, and that something divine is already in motion right now as a prophetic act of alignment. Comment 777 below to declare, I receive the message from heaven. I know. If this word resonates in your spirit, like, share, and subscribe so the flow of revelation never stops reaching those who are called just like you. The noise around you has been relentless, hasn't it? Notifications, voice, expectations, the constant hum of the world demanding your attention. But somewhere inside all of that chaos, there's been a whisper, gentle, persistent, unshakable. You may have mistaken it for a passing thought, a flicker of intuition. But heaven knows better. That whisper is not from your mind, it is from your Maker. Heaven speaks differently from the world. The world shouts. Heaven whispers. The world demands. Heaven invites. The world distracts. Heaven directs. The reason you've felt out of place lately is because your spirit has been tuned to a higher frequency, while the rest of the world keeps turning up the volume of distraction. Every storm, every voice, every noise has been trying to drown out the only sound that matters, the sound of heaven calling your name. The whisper doesn't come in thunder. It doesn't always come through miracles or dreams. Sometimes it's a tug in your heart when you're about to quit. Sometimes it's the sudden urge to forgive when bitterness wants to stay. Sometimes it's the tears that rise out of nowhere when you think you're fine. That's the sound of heaven breaking through your noise. Chosen one. It's not random that you are reading this in a season of confusion. Divine messages rarely come when life is peaceful. Heaven waits until the noise is unbearable, until the chaos peaks, until your strength runs out, because that is when your spirit becomes still enough to listen. God is not trying to compete with the world's noise. He is teaching you to hear Him above it. You've tried to fix everything yourself, haven't you? You've tried to organize, to plan, to make sense of what feels senseless. But the whisper is not asking you to understand. It's asking you to trust. There are things that won't make sense until after the angel arrives. There are battles you won't understand until the message is delivered. Right now, your job is to listen. And when you begin to listen deeply beyond your fears, beyond the expectations of others, you'll realize something profound. Heaven has been responding to your prayers in ways that don't look like answers. The closed doors, the delayed opportunities, the people who left, they weren't rejections. They were redirections. The whisper has been steering you towards something greater, even when it hurt. You see, the angel on its way to you does not travel through silence. It travels because of silence. The stillness in your spirit creates a landing place for divine messages. If you stay in chaos, you cannot receive clarity. But when your soul finds peace in the storm, heaven descends with precision. The whisper is heaven's way of preparing you to host its messenger. Many people around you will not understand what you're sensing. They'll say, "You're too emotional, too spiritual, too intense." But that's because they haven't heard what you've heard. They're tuned to the world. You're tuned to eternity. The things that used to entertain you now grieve your spirit because you've tasted something higher. That's the cost of being chosen. You begin to hear what others cannot. Sometimes God hides his loudest answers in quiet places. When you can't hear him in the thunder, you'll find him in the whisper. He speaks through the gentle pull that tells you not to quit, not to settle, not to lose faith. And when you finally surrender to that still, sacred sound, you discover that the whisper has been leading you straight into divine encounter all along. Chosen one. Heaven's whisper is the proof that you are still connected, even when you feel lost. The whisper means you are found, even when you feel alone. It means heaven has not forgotten your name. It is written through the ancient words of David in the Psalms, chapter 46, verse 10. "Be still and know that I am God." That single sentence carries the entire weight of this moment. Be still, not inactive, but inwardly calm. Be still, not careless, but surrendered. Be still, not faithless, but attentive. Because in stillness, the invisible becomes visible. The whisper becomes words. The messenger steps closer. So, let the world spin. Let the noise rage. You are not part of the chaos. You are the calm inside it. While others panic, you will perceive. While others complain, you will hear. The whisper that started as a gentle nudge will grow louder in your soul until you cannot ignore it anymore. That is heaven's signal that the angel has entered your atmosphere. Chosen one. Quiet your mind and listen. The divine frequency is calling your name again. There are marks that heaven places on those it calls chosen. They are not visible to the world, but the spirit world recognizes them instantly. That's why you've been attacked for no reason. That's why some people dislike you without ever knowing you. It's not personal, it's spiritual. You are marked by heaven, and darkness sees the glow that even you can't fully perceive. From birth, you've carried something rare, an invisible seal that sets you apart. You've always felt different, haven't you? Even as a child, you saw things others overlooked. You felt deeply, loved fiercely, questioned everything. That's not sensitivity, that's discernment. The mark of the chosen is sensitivity to heaven's frequency. You sense shifts before they happen. You feel burdens before others notice the storm. That is not a curse, it's your calling. You were never meant to blend in. The anointing on your life ensures you never will. People may call it too emotional, too spiritual, or too intense. But the truth is, you carry an awareness that most are asleep to. You see through facades. You discern motives. You feel the weight of places others walk past. That is the price of carrying heaven's mark. Chosen one. Your uniqueness has been misunderstood, but that uniqueness is heaven's fingerprint on your soul. Every struggle you faced was proof of divine investment. The more valuable the vessel, the hotter the fire. That's why your trials have been so fierce. Darkness does not waste energy attacking the ordinary. It only targets what threatens its kingdom. When you cry out wondering why life feels heavier for you than for others, remember this: the higher the calling, the greater the crushing. Oil only flows when olives are pressed. Diamonds only shine after pressure. And the glory of God only radiates fully from a life that's been broken and rebuilt by His hand. You carry a frequency that attracts both light and resistance. Heaven marks you, and hell reacts to that mark. But here's the truth: no attack can erase what God has sealed. The mark on your life is permanent, established before you took your first breath. That's why, even when you tried to run, something always pulled you back. You can't escape destiny. You can only delay it. The Spirit spoke through Jesus Himself in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 16. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you. Let that settle deep in your heart. You were chosen, not randomly, not accidentally, but intentionally. Heaven looked across generations and said, "That one, you are not an afterthought. You are a divine strategy wrapped in flesh. You carry heaven's agenda disguised as a human life." So, stop apologizing for being different. Stop explaining why you feel things others don't understand. Stop minimizing your gift just to fit into circles that were never meant to contain you. You are not here to be accepted. You are here to be activated. The angel that's on its way is coming not to comfort you, but to confirm you. Your mark identifies you as part of heaven's army. You are a carrier of light. And where you walk, darkness trembles. You will begin to notice people drawn to your peace without knowing why. Environments will shift when you enter them. You won't need to announce your anointing. It will announce itself. But remember, the mark is both an honor and a responsibility. It demands purity. It calls for obedience. The more you align with God, the stronger the mark shines. The more you resist, the dimmer it becomes. Heaven is calling you to guard your light because this world desperately needs it. Chosen one. Never mistake your difference for deficiency. You were never made to fit in because you were born to stand out. Every scar on your soul tells the story of survival and divine selection. You are not broken, you are branded by heaven. Now, as a prophetic act of recognition, comment, "I am marked," below. Say it as a declaration, not as a wish. Because when you type those words, you're not just agreeing with me, you're agreeing with heaven's record about your life. You're declaring to the spirit realm that you accept the seal you've carried all along. Let those words echo inside you as a reminder: you are chosen, sealed, and set apart for a divine purpose that no power on earth or in hell can erase. There are seasons in your life when the waiting feels endless. You pray, you fast, you weep, and still the heavens seem silent. Every door you knock on stays closed. Every plan you try to build crumbles in your hands. You begin to wonder if God has forgotten you. But listen closely. Chosen one, the delay was never denial. The delay was divine. Heaven is a master of timing. The human heart always wants immediate answers. But divine orchestration requiert patience. What you call stuck. Heaven calls being stationed. God has not been ignoring you. He has been aligning everything around you to meet His appointed time. You thought you were waiting on Him, but He was preparing the stage for your encounter. You see, angels don't just appear at random. They move according to divine command and perfect timing. Before heaven releases a messenger, it arranges circumstances so that the message will land in the right heart, at the right hour, in the right condition. That's what has been happening to you. The pain, the pauses, the disappointments, they were part of the divine travel plan of the angel coming your way. Think of the long seasons where doors wouldn't open. You cried out for change, but the change never came. That's because God was building your endurance. He was preparing your character to sustain the weight of what He's sending. If the angel had come earlier, you might have received the promise, but not had the strength to carry it. But now, after the waiting, you are stronger, wiser, quieter, and that's exactly the soil heaven needed. Chosen one. There's a deep mystery in divine waiting. When heaven delays, it's not standing still, it's rearranging. Every delay carries a hidden message. Hold on, I am preparing something better. Every moment of silence hides a whisper from eternity saying, I am not finished yet. When your prayers seemed unanswered, they weren't ignored, they were incubating. Heaven heard you the first time, but sometimes the response must pass through realms of resistance before reaching you. The book of Daniel tells us of an angel delayed by spiritual warfare for 21 days. The delay wasn't failure, it was battle. The same is true for you. Your angel is on the way. The resistance you've felt is proof of that. The Spirit of the Lord has been stretching your patience so that your faith could grow beyond emotion. Because faith built on feelings fades, but faith built on silence lasts forever. Every unanswered prayer has been building spiritual muscle in you. You may not have seen movement, but heaven saw maturity forming in your soul. Sometimes God hides His hand to reveal your heart. When nothing seems to work, He watches whether you'll trust His character even when you can't trace His plan. That's what separates the chosen from the crowd. The crowd demands signs, the chosen walk by faith. You have been walking by faith longer than you realize. You've been trusting through the ache, believing through the fog, and heaven has taken note of that. Chosen one. The delay has been necessary because God was teaching you to distinguish between movement and progress. The world moves constantly but rarely progresses. Heaven, however, progresses without rushing. Your waiting season wasn't wasted, it was divine refinement. Do you realize what happens when God finally says, now? Everything that seemed frozen suddenly bursts into motion. Prayers that felt buried rise to the surface. What you thought was over resurrects. You will soon see acceleration after long stillness because heaven's calendar just turned its page for you. Heaven has watched your tears. It has seen your quiet endurance, your hidden obedience, your battles that no one applauded. And now, the divine timing is shifting. The angel you've been waiting for has been released. The route has cleared. What was held up is about to arrive. The prophet spoke long ago in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Those words are alive in this very moment. You have been waiting for what felt like forever. But heaven's clock has just struck appointed time. What you prayed for, fasted for, cried for, it's not lost. It's in transit. And now, as the divine order unfolds, everything begins to make sense. Chosen one. You will soon look back on this season of waiting with tears of gratitude, because you'll see that God's delay protected you from premature blessing. He withheld certain things until your spirit was ready to handle the weight of them. Heaven never wastes time. It redeems it. So don't curse the waiting. Bless it, because it means your story is not over. It's simply unfolding according to heaven's rhythm. Every delay was divine choreography. And soon you'll understand why. It had to be this way. There are moments when the air around you begins to shift, and though nothing visible has changed, something deep inside you knows heaven has moved. The space feels charged. Your spirit becomes alert, and you start noticing that ordinary things carry extraordinary meaning. That is not imagination, it is awareness. You are sensing the approach of the divine, chosen one. Before every angelic visitation, creation itself starts to whisper. The wind carries messages that your soul can feel even when your ears cannot hear. It's as if heaven exhales, and the air trembles with purpose. You may find yourself waking at odd hours, drawn to pray without reason, feeling the atmosphere grow heavier with expectation. This is how heaven announces that the unseen has entered your environment. Imagine the earth before a thunderstorm. The sky darkens, the wind pauses, and then a single drop falls. That pause before the rain is what your soul feels right now. Heaven is inhaling before it pours out revelation. The stillness is not emptiness, it is the breath of God hovering over your life again. Many people mistake this stillness for absence. But you, chosen one, must see deeper. When the air feels different, when the familiar begins to feel foreign, it means your dimension is changing. You're not losing balance, you're being lifted. The angel assigned to you walks quietly, and the environment must first adjust before it can host that presence. You might notice that people around you start reacting differently. Some become distant, others become drawn to you. That's because your spiritual temperature is rising. Those not meant for your next season feel the discomfort of your elevation, while those aligned with heaven feel pulled toward your light. It's all part of the shift. The writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 34, verse 7, remind us, "The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them." Now, right now, that scripture is becoming tangible for you. The encampment is near. The divine presence has begun to surround you. That's why your emotions have been heightened, why you've felt things you can't explain. Heaven is drawing closer, and your spirit is responding before your mind can comprehend. Do not resist this. Lean into it. Talk to God as you would to a trusted friend. Tell him you're ready, even if you're trembling. Because the trembling is holy, it's your human frame adjusting to divine voltage. When heaven begins to move, everything sacred inside you awakens. You'll notice moments of sudden peace in the middle of chaos. You'll hear melodies in silence. You'll feel warmth when you pray, even alone in your room. These are not coincidences. These are spiritual indicators that your atmosphere is being sanctified for visitation. Think of your life as a house. For years, you've lived in one room, familiar, comfortable, predictable. But God is expanding your walls. The furniture of your past must be rearranged for what's about to arrive. The angel carries new instructions, new insight, even new relationships that cannot fit into your old layout. The shifting air means the renovation has begun. You may not yet see it, but heaven is already working through you. every act of kindness you show, every moment you forgive instead of retaliate, every prayer you whisper into the dark, all of it releases fragrance into the spiritual atmosphere. Angels follow that fragrance. They are drawn to humility, faith, and compassion like bees to nectar. And as this message reaches your heart, take a moment to breathe in the truth. God is not distant, He is present. The shift in the air is proof. The same wind that carried His voice to the prophets of old now moves gently around you. This mission, we share the spreading of light, hope, and divine awareness relies on hearts like yours. When you support this movement, whether by sharing, subscribing, or giving, you're not just helping words reach ears, you're helping heaven reach souls. Think of it like tending a flame. Every like, every share, every offering is a breath that keeps the fire burning. Together, we make sure the light doesn't go out in a dark world. If you've been blessed by what you've heard so far, consider sowing back into this space, not as payment, but as partnership. When you share this message, someone lost in silence will find direction. When you subscribe, you become part of a global altar of awakening. When you give, even a small seed, it becomes oil for the lamp that carries light to others, still searching for hope. Your act of faith keeps the message alive, like streams joining into a river. Every contribution, large or small, helps carry heaven's sound farther. You're not funding words, you're fueling transformation. Chosen one, as the air around you continues to shift, let your heart shift too. Step into gratitude for what's coming. The angel is near, and heaven's presence is wrapping around you even now. What you feel is not imagination, it is encounter. There are footsteps in your life that you cannot see, yet you feel their echo in your spirit. The atmosphere has been charged lately, hasn't it? You can sense movement around you, even when everything seems still. That's because your guardian, the angel assigned to your path, has drawn closer than ever before. Chosen one. You've been protected more times than you know. The accidents that didn't happen, the dangers you narrowly escaped, the moments you were inexplicably delayed, all of them were interventions by unseen hands. You've never walked alone, not even once. While you were crying, an angel was standing guard. While you were doubting, heaven was whispering, "Hold on, I'm still here." Len, you've been asking for signs, for proof that heaven hasn't forgotten you. Look around. The coincidences that keep repeating themselves are not random. The timing of that message, the stranger's kind word, the door that opened just when you were about to give up all of it, is evidence that your guardian has been moving on your behalf. Sometimes the angel steps so close that your body feels it before your mind understands it. That chill that runs through you during prayer, that sudden peace when everything feels impossible, that's not emotion. It's contact, the realm of light brushing against your humanity. There's a sacred truth you need to remember. Heaven doesn't send help according to your schedule. It sends help according to your growth. The angel doesn't appear because you're desperate. It appears because you're ready. You've passed through the tests of patience and faith. And now, the divine escort that's been walking at a distance is moving within reach. We are reminded through the Psalms. Chapter 91, verse 11. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to guard thee in all thy ways. Oh, that verse is more than ancient poetry. It is a present reality unfolding around you. Your guardian has been commissioned not only to protect your body, but to preserve your destiny. Every time life tried to crush you, that angel stood between you and destruction. And now, heaven is allowing you to become aware of that presence. When divine protection draws near, it often brings a strange restlessness. You may feel a pull to clean, to reorder your space, to spend time in prayer or solitude. These impulses are not random, they are preparation. The angel is aligning the physical environment to match the spiritual atmosphere. The ordinary becomes sacred because the heavenly is approaching. Chosen one. This is the moment to walk with sensitivity. Be mindful of what you say, what you entertain, where you go. Your steps are now part of divine choreography. The angel assigned to you moves according to obedience, not convenience. Every time you yield to God's leading, you give that angel permission to act fully on your behalf. Think about the times you survived when you shouldn't have, the heartbreaks that didn't destroy you, the betrayals that refined you instead of breaking you. Those were moments when the angel stood silently beside you, absorbing the impact that was meant for you. You felt pain, yes, but not devastation. That's divine mercy at work. This is why the darkness has fought you so hard lately. Because as your guardian moves closer, resistance intensifies. But the enemy cannot touch what heaven protects. Every attempt to derail you will only confirm that protection is active. The more opposition rises, the stronger your covering becomes. And soon, chosen one, you will sense a shift, a clarity in your spirit that wasn't there before. You'll make decisions easily. Not from fear, but from peace. Doors that were jammed will open quietly. That's not luck. That's divine guidance, stepping into manifestation. The angel beside you carries both comfort and command. You will be instructed, not merely protected. You'll receive ideas, dreams, and direction that align perfectly with heaven's plan. Pay attention to repetition when a thought or phrase keeps returning. It's often the angel reminding you of something essential. So breathe. Rest in the knowledge that heaven has surrounded you. You're not waiting for help, it's already here. You're not searching for proof, it's already unfolding in front of you. Every time you sense peace in the middle of chaos, remember, that's your guardian standing between you and despair. And right now, as an act of faith and recognition, comment 888 below. This number represents new beginnings and divine alignment. It declares that you are ready to walk in sync with your angel's guidance. When you write it, don't see it as just numbers, see it as a seal, a signature that heaven can recognize. Type it once, slowly, and let it echo inside you, because by doing so, you're agreeing with the unseen truth that you are covered, guided, and never alone. The footsteps you feel are not behind you, they are beside you. The messenger walks with you now. Every divine message that reaches earth passes through a war you cannot see. The unseen realm is not a quiet place. It is alive with movement, angels and forces of darkness wrestling for influence, for territory, for the destiny of souls. You, chosen one, have felt the pressure of that battle without always realizing what it was. The heaviness, the sudden fear, the moments when everything seems to go wrong at once. These are the echoes of spiritual warfare. Heaven's messages are always opposed because truth threatens deception. The enemy does not fear religion, but it fears revelation. and revelation is what you carry. That's why attacks have increased as the angel draws near. Darkness senses what's about to arrive in your life and is doing everything possible to distract, exhaust, or discourage you before you receive it. Do you remember the times when you were almost at peace, and suddenly confusion came out of nowhere? The arguments, the misunderstandings, the unnecessary chaos. That was not coincidence, that was interference. The enemy's strategy has always been the same. If it can't destroy the messenger, it will try to distract the receiver. But chosen one, your awareness is already a weapon. The moment you recognize that the battle isn't against people but against principalities, the fight changes. You stop wasting strength on faces and begin to confront the real forces behind them. The Spirit reveals this through the writings of Paul in the letter to the Ephesians. Chapter 6, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. End of Trosten. This is not metaphor, it's instruction. You are not fighting co-workers, family, or circumstances. You are confronting systems of darkness that have studied humanity for ages. They know your patterns, your weaknesses, your fears. Yet what they don't anticipate is your awakening, because once a chosen one becomes aware, the battle shifts from survival to victory. Every time you choose love over bitterness, you win. Every time you pray instead of panic, light expands. Every time you forgive instead of retaliate, heaven gains ground. Warfare is not always dramatic. Sometimes it's as quiet as choosing peace when everything provokes you. You've probably noticed that the moments right before your breakthroughs are the hardest. That's because resistance intensifies when something sacred is about to be birthed. The enemy fights the loudest when it knows it's about to lose territory. The pressure you feel right now is not punishment, it's prophecy. It's the sign that something divine is about to emerge. The angel assigned to you has been fighting through layers of interference to reach you. In the unseen realm, every obedient step you take strengthens that angel's advance. When you speak words of faith, it becomes a sword in the hand of your protector. When you worship through pain, it becomes light that pierces the dark. You are not powerless in this battle. You are a participant. Your prayers are not whispers into emptiness. They are coordinates sent to heaven. Every time you pray, you send reinforcement into the spiritual realm. Every time you stand firm in truth, you make it harder for darkness to operate around you. Sometimes, the battlefield is your own mind. Doubt, fear, self-condemnation. These are not just emotions. They are weapons aimed at your spirit. But you can silence them with truth. Remind yourself, I am chosen. I am covered. I am not fighting alone. When you speak that out loud, the atmosphere shifts. There will be moments when you feel weary, when you want to lay down the fight. Even then, heaven stands with you. The angel's wings may be invisible, but they cast shadows over you in protection. The same power that raised Christ from the dead flows through your veins when you choose to believe. Think of this, even in the fiercest storm, the sky above the clouds is still calm. That's where your spirit dwells above the chaos, anchored in divine peace. The warfare below cannot reach the throne above. And because your life is hidden with Christ, the outcome of your battles has already been decided. Victory is not coming, it's already written. So when the pressure rises again, when confusion tries to creep in, Remind yourself what's really happening. The darkness isn't attacking because you're weak, it's attacking because you're winning. Your light has become visible to realms that hoped you'd stay silent. The warfare is real, but so is your covering. The battle may be unseen, but so is your victory. Angels are not myth, they are ministers of fire. You are surrounded, even when you feel isolated. The closer your breakthrough, the louder the noise. But the noise cannot stop what has been decreed. There are numbers that heaven uses as language codes that carry meaning beyond human logic. These are not accidents or coincidences, they are divine timestamps. When a specific sequence appears repeatedly in your life, it is heaven's way of saying, pay attention. Something sacred is unfolding. Isesh, chosen one. Lately, you've been seeing the number 999, haven't you? On clocks, receipts, addresses, even dreams. You've tried to brush it off, but it keeps following you. Like a whisper coded in time. That's not superstition. That's divine synchronization. The number you keep encountering is a heavenly signal confirmation that the old chapter is closing and a new cycle of purpose is beginning. Heaven has languages that the logical mind cannot grasp, but your spirit understands them instantly. You feel it in your bones, the quiet awareness that you're standing at a threshold. The number 999 is heaven's final punctuation mark before the next sentence of your destiny begins. It means completion, transition, fulfillment. The cycle that once defined you has served its purpose. You are no longer who you were, and heaven refuses to let you return to what you've outgrown. Many times, people pray for new beginnings, but few are willing to let go of old patterns. The appearance of 999 means heaven is gently closing doors you've been afraid to shut yourself. The friendships that faded, the opportunities that slipped away, the sudden urge to detach from old routines, all of it is divine editing. God removes what can't travel with you into the next season. When heaven prepares to deliver new revelation, it must first clear the clutter of yesterday's understanding. That's why confusion has lingered lately. It's not the absence of clarity, it's the demolition before construction. The foundation of your old life is being cleared so the new structure of your calling can rise. It's no coincidence that Jesus said on the cross, "It is finished." The divine cycle of redemption was completed in that moment. In your life, 999 carries the same vibration. It declares that what needed to end has ended. You don't have to resurrect what heaven has buried. Let what's finished stay finished. According to what is revealed in the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 6, I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. Oh, this ancient declaration isn't merely about eternity, it's about rhythm. Heaven operates in cycles, not chaos. Every ending in your life carries the seed of a new beginning, and 999 is heaven's whisper saying, the cycle is complete. Prepare for rebirth. Chosen one. This is the divine reason you felt both heavy and light lately, heavy from all that's ending, but light because your soul senses freedom ahead. You are being emptied so you can be filled again. What looks like loss is actually liberation. When you start seeing patterns like 999, understand this. Heaven doesn't speak in random symbols. It speaks in resonance. Your spirit has matured enough to perceive the sacred geometry of God's design. Numbers are vibrations of eternity echoing through time, and you are tuned to hear them. If you've been wrestling with letting go of people, habits, or identities, know that this divine signal is heaven's gentle way of saying, release now, or the weight will hold you back. When something spiritual ends, holding on to it invites stagnation. But when you release it, you invite resurrection. This number also speaks of harvest. You have planted seeds through prayer, endurance, and obedience. Now, the time of reaping approaches. The soil of your patience is about to bloom with divine results. The battles you've endured were not punishment, they were the plowing of your field. Heaven never forgets the seeds sown in tears. 999 doesn't only close, it crowns. It signifies that your lessons are complete. Your faith has been tested, and your spirit is ready for graduation. You are moving from learning into living, from waiting into walking. The angel on its way to you carries the final instructions of this cycle, and when it speaks, you'll understand why everything unfolded as it did. There's beauty in endings. Chosen one, the sunset is proof that something can die beautifully, making way for dawn. Let this truth wash over you. The same God who allowed the ending has already written the beginning. You are not losing time, you are shifting timelines. When 999 appears again, don't fear it. Whisper, I understand, because that's heaven confirming that you're aligned with its rhythm. You have graduated from confusion into comprehension. You are now ready for the new sequence that begins at the next dawn, something divine, something unprecedented, something written with your name on it. When the pressure around you begins to rise, when the walls seem to close in and every prayer feels unanswered, that is not the end, it is the threshold. Heaven often disguises breakthrough as burden. You, chosen one, are standing in the final stretch of a battle that has tested every fiber of your being. The rising pressure you feel right now is not meant to crush you, it's meant to crown you. Every great story in Scripture carries this same rhythm. The moment before deliverance is always the darkest. Before Moses parted the Red Sea, the water looked impossible. Before Joseph wore the royal ring, he sat in a prison cell. Before resurrection came, there was crucifixion. The pattern has never changed, and it will not change now. Your life is echoing the same sacred story, pain before purpose, trial before triumph. You've been wondering, why does it hurt this much? Because heaven is pressing the oil from your spirit. Pressure creates power. It turns ordinary believers into instruments of glory. If you could see what the pressure is producing, you would thank God even for the tears. Every sleepless night has been shaping the faith required for what's coming next. Sometimes the pressure comes as silence, sometimes as confusion, sometimes as loss. It isolates you from everything familiar so that your dependence shifts fully onto God. That isolation is not punishment, it's purification. You're being stripped of what you can't carry into the next realm of purpose. Chosen one. There are angels standing around you right now, strengthening you just as they did with Jesus in Gethsemane. When he was pressed in the garden, when his sweat became drops of blood, heaven didn't remove the pressure it sent, strength in the middle of it. You're not meant to escape this process, you're meant to emerge from it refined. When everything feels uncertain, when you want to give up, remember this: diamonds are born in darkness. Seeds break underground before they bloom. Even the sunrise begins while it's still night. What you're experiencing is not destruction, it's development. The psalmist wrote these words centuries ago, yet they speak to this very moment. We find in the book of Psalms, chapter 30, verse 5, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning." That single verse is the anthem of your season. You are in the night part right now, but dawn is already approaching. The heaviness, the weariness, the waiting, it all signals that your night is almost over. Heaven is already preparing your morning. The same God who allowed the pressure has already scheduled the release. When the pressure reaches its peak, that's when the angel delivers the message. The enemy always attacks hardest when heaven is about to move. It's not a sign of failure, it's a sign of fulfillment. Every tear you've cried has watered the ground where your miracle is about to bloom. Chosen one, take this to heart. Pressure exposes purpose. It forces hidden strength to surface. Without it, you would never discover the depth of your resilience or the magnitude of your calling. You are being tested, not because you are weak, but because heaven trusts your capacity. This season is teaching you something the comfortable. Never learn to rely on God when nothing makes sense. The pressure strips away every illusion until only faith remains. And faith, once purified, becomes unstoppable. Look at what's happening around you. The delays, the detours, the disappointments, they're not evidence of abandonment, they're evidence of refinement. The old, you could not carry the new assignment. So heaven is transforming you under pressure. Soon, you will look back on this chapter and realize that the very weight that threatened to bury you actually built you. You will stand stronger, speak with more authority, love with more compassion, and walk with more discernment. Because the oil you carry will come from the crushing you endured. And when that happens, when you finally see light breaking through, you will know that every prayer, every tear, every test had purpose. You will stand as living proof that pressure was never your enemy, it was your promotion. Now, if your spirit bears witness to this truth, type "I will rise" below, not as a wish, but as a decree. When you write those 3 words, you're not just commenting, you're prophesying over your own life. You're declaring to heaven and to hell alike that pressure will not have the final say. Because no matter how fierce the night feels right now, the morning has already been written with your name on it. You are not being crushed, you are being crowned. You will rise. And when you do, every ounce of pressure will make sense. You were never ordinary, chosen one. Even before you took your first breath, heaven wrote songs about your existence. You were designed to disturb darkness, to carry light into places where hope had gone extinct. Every fiber of your being carries divine code proof that you are not a coincidence, but a calling wrapped in skin. All your life, you felt it, that subtle difference. That quiet, knowing that you were meant for something more. Others may have mocked it, misunderstanding your depth, calling you too much or too intense. But intensity is not a flaw. It's evidence of divine voltage running through your soul. When God places His hand on someone, the ordinary can no longer contain them. You were born with heaven's frequency vibrating inside you. That's why silence feels sacred to you. Why truth stirs you. Why injustice ignites fire in your chest. Your sensitivity isn't weakness, it's spiritual radar. You detect what others ignore because your spirit was calibrated to hear heaven's subtle signals. Every chosen one carries a unique sound, a vibration that resonates in the unseen realm. It's like the hum of a violin that only angels can hear. That sound announces who you are and what you carry. When you walk into a room, atmospheres shift, not because of what you say, but because of what you are. You carry peace where there was panic. You carry conviction where there was compromise. You carry heaven in human form, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. That verse is not a compliment, it's a commissioning. You were never meant to hide. Light doesn't ask permission to shine, it just does. You have spent too long dimming your glow to make others comfortable. But heaven did not anoint you to fit in, it anointed you to stand out. The crown you carry will never rest on a bowed head. Chosen one. You are a city on a hill. You are the lamp in a dark valley. And right now, the world desperately needs the warmth that only your light can provide. The angel coming your way isn't just bringing comfort, it's bringing confirmation that you are to rise and take your rightful place. But even lights need oil to burn. That oil comes from community, connection, and support. Each word you hear here, each message you receive, is like a spark, but sparks only become flame when others protect them from the wind. When you share this message, you're not sharing content, you're extending light. Someone in darkness will see your post and find hope again. Subscribing isn't about numbers, it's about unity. Think of it as joining a choir of chosen ones across the earth, each voice different, yet all singing the same melody of awakening. Together, we become a constellation of light across the night sky, proof that heaven is still reaching for humanity through hearts like yours. And for those who choose to sow into this mission, to donate, to give, to support, understand this. You're not just funding words, you're fueling fire. Each gift, no matter how small, becomes a drop of oil poured into this global lampstand. When you give, you become part of the unseen story, the hands behind the light that never goes out. Imagine a lighthouse standing on a cliff. Ships lost in the storm depend on its glow to find safety. You are helping keep that light burning. Every share, every act of support, every moment of prayer, it's all fuel for the flame. And the beautiful mystery of divine economy is this: the oil you pour out always returns, multiplied. So, chosen one, if this message stirs your heart, let it move your hands too. Share it not out of obligation, but compassion. Like it not for attention, but as a quiet amen to heaven's word. Subscribe, not to follow a voice, but to stay connected to a frequency that feeds your soul. Give, if you are led, not to earn favor, but to sustain the light that keeps souls from stumbling in the dark. Because what you're a part of here isn't a broadcast, it's a movement, a rising of lights across nations, a network of souls saying, "We refuse to let the flame die." You are one of those flames, and your participation, your listening, your sharing, your giving turns this divine whisper into a global roar. Chosen one. The world may not understand your light, but heaven does. And even as you hear these words, the angel assigned to you stands ready, holding new instructions for your journey. You are stepping into a higher brightness, So let your heart expand, your generosity flow, and your faith stand tall, because together we are rebuilding hope, one illuminated soul at a time. When God sends an angel, it does not come empty-handed. Every divine messenger carries a specific word, one that can change the trajectory of a life. Chosen one. The angel on its way to you bears a message so personal, so precise, that it could only have been written for your name alone. It is not generic encouragement, it is divine instruction. A letter sealed by the breath of heaven. For many days, the message has been traveling through resistance, through realms unseen. Angels do not simply deliver, they also defend. Every word from heaven must fight its way through opposition, because revelation shifts reality. When truth descends, deception trembles. And that is what's happening around you right now. The shaking, the uncertainty, the sudden stirring in your heart. It is all part of heaven, preparing you to receive what's coming. You may not hear the angel's voice audibly, but you will recognize the vibration. It will speak to you through confirmation, through patterns, through peace, through the scripture that suddenly comes alive, through the dream that refuses to fade. You'll know it's heaven when the message cuts through confusion and carries both authority and gentleness at once. Heaven's communication does not always arrive with thunder. Sometimes it comes like the sound of a feather landing in your spirit. That still, steady awareness, the thought that will not leave. The sudden peace that doesn't make sense is the language of angels. You don't chase it, you recognize it. This message, chosen one, has been written in your tears. Every cry, every silent prayer, every why you whispered in the night has become ink in heaven's script. And now, God answers not with explanation, but with revelation, because explanations satisfy the mind, but revelation transforms the heart. The word that is coming to you will do both. It will heal and instruct, comfort and commission. It will reach the parts of your soul no sermon ever could. When the angel speaks, your spirit will know. You won't need proof, you'll feel alignment. It will sound like home. The apostle wrote this in the book of Revelation, chapter 19, verse 9. Then the angel said to me, "Write this, blessed are those who are invited to the wedding supper of the Lamb." 1:6. That ancient line is more than prophecy, it is invitation. Every message from heaven is an invitation to partnership, to purpose, to communion with God. The angel that's coming isn't merely bringing information, it's bringing invitation. You are being invited into deeper intimacy, higher obedience, and clearer vision. Chosen one, the time has come for you to stop questioning whether you are hearing right. You've been doubting your discernment because it doesn't fit the logic of those around you. But heaven isn't speaking to them, it's speaking to you. The message is customized to your calling, and not everyone will understand it. Obedience is often lonely because only the chosen hear what others cannot. When the message arrives, it might challenge you. It may require sacrifice or a step into the unknown. Do not be afraid. Angels don't come to negotiate, they come to announce. And once heaven announces, delay is no longer an option. You will feel a fire inside you that refuses to be ignored. That is your confirmation. Remember this, divine messages are never meant just to inspire, they are meant to activate. When you receive this word, act quickly. Heaven's instructions are time-sensitive because they are tied to opportunities that exist only in this divine window. The angel will remind you of promises you buried under disappointment. It will resurrect dreams you thought had died. It will bring understanding to the chaos that surrounded you. You'll see how every detour had purpose, every delay had protection, and every tear had teaching. And as this message unfolds, peace will accompany it like a signature. That peace will be your proof. Not loud, not dramatic, but deep, the kind of calm that cannot be manufactured. That's how you'll know the word is real. Chosen one. This is the season of divine correspondence. Heaven is not silent, it is strategic. The angel's message is already descending through layers of resistance, carrying words that will rebuild your hope and reignite your fire. Prepare your heart. Quiet your mind. Because when the messenger speaks, your spirit will awaken to truths you've always known, but had forgotten how to articulate. The message is not coming to find you. It's coming to remind you of who you are, of where you're headed, and of the promise heaven never retracted. Heaven's countdown has begun. There is a stirring in the invisible realms, a quiet urgency that your spirit has already begun to feel. You sense that something is about to shift. Though you cannot explain how you know, the winds of timing have changed direction. The delay is over. What was once not yet has now become now. Chosen one. You are standing in the intersection between waiting and fulfillment. The angel that was dispatched long ago is no longer on the way, it is at the door. Every sign around you confirms this. The quickened heart during prayer, the sudden stillness that settles on your spirit, the coincidences aligning too perfectly to be random. Heaven's clock has struck your appointed hour. This is the divine moment that all the delays were leading to. The pruning, the patience, the tears, they were not wasted. They synchronized you with heaven's rhythm. You are now tuned to divine frequency. And that's why ordinary life feels different. The veil between worlds has thinned. Every prayer, every act of obedience, every moment you refuse to give up has reached critical mass. Heaven has moved from planning to performance. You've been asking, when? Lord, when will I see the breakthrough? The answer has changed. The word is no longer wait. The word is watch. Watch how quickly things begin to align. Watch how suddenly doors open. How naturally the impossible becomes normal. You're not waiting for permission anymore. Heaven has already signed your release. For years, the rhythm of your life has felt like silence, punctuated by small miracles. But now, you will see an acceleration. What once took years will happen in months. What took months will unfold in days. This is not fantasy, it is divine fulfillment. The countdown has reached its final seconds, and heaven has begun the unveiling of what was long prepared. The prophet wrote it long ago in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. End quote. Chosen one. That appointed time is now. You are walking inside prophecy. What was promised is being performed. You are not hoping anymore. You are living inside the very thing you once prayed for. But understand this, when heaven's timing activates, everything accelerates. That is why the pressure has increased, why relationships have shifted, why you feel the push to release certain things. You're stepping into the momentum of destiny. When divine timing moves, stagnation cannot survive. Heaven's countdown does not begin when you notice it. It begins when God decides you're ready. And you are ready now. You've proven it through endurance, through faith, through the simple obedience of not quitting. Every test you've endured has matured your spirit. And now heaven is rewarding that perseverance with divine manifestation. You will soon witness sudden alignments. The people you need will appear. The opportunities you feared you missed will circle back. The clarity you longed for will flood your mind. Things that once made no sense will finally connect. You'll look back and realize that heaven was never late. It was simply meticulous. But with divine timing comes responsibility. Heaven's acceleration must be matched with earthly discipline. The message of your angel will require movement, not just belief. You must respond quickly when instruction comes. Timing in the spirit realm is like a wave. It rises for a moment and then moves on. When it comes, ride it with boldness. There is one thing heaven is asking of you now. Stay alert. Don't let distraction dull your awareness. Divine timing is delicate. What you perceive determines what you receive. Stay sensitive. Stay pure. Stay positioned. Chosen one. The countdown is not about fear, it's about fulfillment. Heaven's clock is striking on your behalf. This is the moment generations before you prayed you would reach. You are not late. You are right on time. And now, as a prophetic act of alignment, comment 1111 below. This number symbolizes divine timing, open gates, and spiritual alignment. When you write it, you are declaring, I am ready for heaven's appointed hour. And don't treat it as superstition. It's an act of agreement. You're saying yes to God's timeline. Yes to the movement of angels. Yes to the manifestation of promises. You're standing in faith that what heaven began will not delay another moment. Chosen one. The countdown is over. The waiting season has expired. You are stepping into the flow of fulfillment, where everything that once felt distant begins to draw near. Heaven's clock just struck your name, and the sound of it echoes through eternity. The closer heaven draws to deliver, the more the enemy panics. You may have noticed this lately: unexplained frustration, sudden exhaustion, people misunderstanding you without cause. It feels as though everything that could go wrong is doing so all at once. But that's not coincidence. That is the backlash of a defeated realm. Darkness can sense that your angel has arrived, and it is trembling. Chosen one. The enemy has no power to stop divine promise, but it will try to distract you from recognizing it. Its strategy is always noise distraction, confusion, fear. The enemy cannot undo what God decreed, so it tries to make you doubt it. Yet you must remember this truth. When warfare intensifies, it is proof that breakthrough is near. You have become a living threat to darkness simply by believing. Every prayer, every act of forgiveness, every decision to walk in love has weakened the structures that once bound you. The enemy thought you'd quit by now, but you didn't. You kept going. You kept standing. And now, your endurance has summoned divine reinforcement. The panic you sense is the chaos of hell, realizing it has lost jurisdiction over your life. In the invisible realm, there are laws, divine decrees that darkness cannot violate. Once heaven declares a promise, it is sealed. But before manifestation, that promise must pass through opposition. It's like a seed pushing through soil. the deeper it's planted, the greater the resistance as it breaks the surface. That's the season you're in now, the breaking through. The shaking you feel isn't failure, it's transition. The ancient words recorded by the prophet Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17, echo with certainty. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper. That promise is not poetic comfort, it's legal authority. It doesn't say weapons won't form, it says they won't prosper. You may feel the attack, but it cannot finish its mission. The weapon may appear sharp, but heaven has already blunted its edge. The storm may roar, but it will only water your roots. You've been through seasons where it seemed like everything around you was falling apart. What you didn't see was how God was secretly using that chaos to rearrange your foundation. The very pressure the enemy hoped would crush you became the catalyst that pushed you closer to purpose. Darkness underestimated your resilience. It forgot that light, no matter how small, cannot be extinguished once ignited. This is why your discernment has sharpened recently. You're noticing energy shifts in people, changes in relationships, and the sudden exposure of hidden motives. That's not paranoia, it's perception. Heaven is uncovering what was concealed so that you won't carry deception into your new season. What is being revealed right now is protection, not punishment. Chosen one. Remember, the enemy is a strategist of illusion. It wants you to feel surrounded when, in truth, it is the one surrounded. The armies of heaven encamp around you. The angel that carries your message stands with sword drawn, not in retreat, but in readiness. This is why, even when fear whispers, something deeper inside you feels unshakable. That's your spirit recognizing divine authority. When the enemy panics, it tries to trigger you into self-sabotage. It plants doubt, provokes reaction, tempts you to speak negativity. But silence is your weapon now. Peace is your protest. The calm in your soul infuriates darkness because it cannot penetrate where there is trust. The moment you stop engaging the enemy's noise, you step fully into God's strategy. Understand this. Chosen one. Fear is the final tactic before defeat. The enemy doesn't attack the fulfilled. It attacks the almost fulfilled. So if the heat has increased, if the pressure feels unbearable, take heart. It means you're steps away from deliverance. You are standing on the edge of manifestation. You are not fighting for victory. You are fighting from victory. The war was already won the moment you chose obedience over comfort, faith over fear, love over resentment. Your stability in chaos is your greatest sermon. Every moment you refuse to break, heaven records it as worship. Soon, you will see the panic of the enemy turn into silence. What felt like opposition will collapse into opportunity. What looked like loss will become leverage. God is not only vindicating you, He is using your endurance as evidence. You will become proof that no darkness can outlast divine decree. So don't be alarmed by the tension around you. It's just the sound of chains snapping, lies crumbling, and old assignments being cancelled in the spirit realm. The enemy isn't attacking you because you're weak, it's panicking because you're walking in power. Stand firm. Chosen one. The shaking is not to destroy, it's to announce. The trembling of the enemy is heaven's way of saying, the promise has arrived. And when the dust settles, you'll see that every force that tried to break you only ended up building your unbreakable faith. There comes a moment when heaven's message, long delayed and fiercely protected, finally arrives. The battle that raged in the unseen begins to quiet, and the atmosphere feels different, heavier with peace, vibrant with holy electricity. That is the moment of crowning. Chosen one, the instant when the angel stands before you, and the divine decree is delivered into your life. This crowning moment is not about titles or recognition, it is about alignment. It is the meeting point between promise and manifestation, the convergence of what heaven spoke and what earth can finally behold. You've journeyed through darkness, silence, warfare, and waiting. And now the glory you carried unseen begins to emerge in full view. The angel's message, though invisible to the eye, feels undeniable in the soul. It moves through you like wind through fire, fanning every ember of faith that once felt small. You realize, perhaps for the first time, that you were never fighting for victory. You were growing into it. You were being trained to wear the crown that was always yours. The apostle wrote in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8, "Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day." That promise belongs not just to Paul, it belongs to all who endure, to all who refuse to surrender when faith feels fragile. You are one of them. The endurance of your spirit has become your coronation. Every tear that fell has turned into jewels on your crown, each representing a victory you didn't even realize you were winning. Crowning moments rarely arrive with fanfare. They come quietly, disguised as revelation, as peace, as a sudden knowing that the season of struggle has ended. The angel doesn't always appear in light. Sometimes it manifests as understanding. When the message reaches your heart, everything shifts. You see the purpose in your pain, the pattern in your past, and the perfection in what once felt like chaos. This is what it means to be crowned, to finally see through heaven's eyes, to realize that nothing was wasted, that even the broken pieces were building blocks for your destiny. The crown is not placed on your head by human hands. It descends from heaven through awareness, through awakening, through acceptance of who you've become. Chosen one, wear your crown in humility, not pride. It is not a reward for perfection, but for perseverance. It doesn't make you greater than others, it makes you more responsible for them. When heaven crowns a person, it doesn't elevate them to rule over people. It commissions them to serve them with love and wisdom. The true sign of a crowned soul is compassion. You'll notice that your desires are changing. The things that once fed your ego now bore your spirit. You'll feel drawn to quiet places, to prayer, to purpose rather than popularity. That's how you know the crown is real. Heaven's glory humbles before it elevates. It teaches servanthood before leadership. The angel's message in this moment is simple yet eternal. You have overcome, not because you fought perfectly, but because you refused to quit. Heaven doesn't measure victory by absence of struggle, but by endurance through it. Every time you rose again, you were being fitted for the crown of righteousness. The crown also marks the beginning of new responsibility. Heaven does not crown for comfort, it crowns for commissioning. You are being sent, not simply celebrated. The light you carry now must illuminate others. The wisdom you've gained through pain must become a roadmap for those still wandering. Your crown isn't an ornament, it's an assignment. You will begin to see opportunities that require your voice, your story, your compassion. Doors will open where your scars become bridges for others. The authority of heaven flows through empathy, and your journey has prepared you to embody both. When you speak now, it won't just be opinion, it will be echo. The echo of divine truth spoken through a vessel that has been tested and found faithful. Crowning is not the end of the story, it's the start of your reign. Not a reign of dominance, but of divine influence. You are meant to carry light into dark systems, to bring healing into broken spaces, to be a living reminder that grace still wins. Chosen one, feel the weight of that invisible crown upon your head now. It's light but powerful. It's unseen yet undeniable. It's not made of gold or jewels, but of endurance, humility, and fire. And as you wear it, know this: heaven celebrates not your arrival, but your transformation. The angel has spoken. The promise is fulfilled. And now the crowned one must walk, not in pride, but in purpose. You have been prepared, purified, and positioned for such a time as this. What once pressed you down now lifts you higher. The throne of your destiny awaits, not built of stone or glory, but of surrender and service. When heaven moves, the atmosphere cannot stay the same. You can feel it now, the shift in your surroundings, the invisible current humming through the ordinary moments of your day. It's subtle, like the scent of rain before it falls, but unmistakable. You, chosen one, are standing in a new frequency. The air around you has changed because the presence around you has changed. After the angel's message arrives, the physical realm always adjusts. What you feel is alignment. The natural world bending to the rhythm of the supernatural. Suddenly, the same streets you've walked 100 times feel charged. The same home you've prayed in for years carries peace like fragrance. That's what happens when divine presence fills space. It transforms environment into sanctuary. You may have noticed small, gentle signs already. Conversations flow easier. Your thoughts feel clearer. Even the heaviness in your chest has begun to lift. This isn't coincidence, it's calibration. When heaven inhabits your atmosphere, the old weight must dissolve. The apostle reminds us in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 17, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. The shift in your atmosphere isn't just for you, it's also for those connected to you. Your presence, once heavy with warfare, now becomes a carrier of peace. People will stand beside you and feel comfort without knowing why. That's the silent testimony of a chosen one, transformed by divine visitation. Think of yourself as a cup once filled with storm water, now overflowing with light. Wherever you go, that light spills out onto conversations, workplaces, even digital spaces like this one. That's why sharing these words matters more than you realize. When you share, you're not spreading content, you're scattering seeds. Seeds of hope, of awakening, of divine reminder. Somewhere out there, another weary soul is waiting to feel the same shift you now feel. Subscribing, engaging, or even commenting on what resonates with you isn't about algorithms, it's about agreement. Each act is a small echo saying, yes, I recognize heaven's movement here. And as for giving, for donating, it's never obligation. It's participation. When you give to light, you become part of its glow. Imagine a candle in a vast cathedral, alone. It flickers beautifully, but when one flame lights another, and another, the entire cathedral glows. That's what happens when you support the work that carries heaven's voice. Every like is a spark. Every share is another candle. Every gift is oil that keeps the flame alive. And understand this, no act is too small. Some water with words, others with prayer, and some with provision, but all serve the same purpose, keeping the light burning for those still stumbling through their night. Your kindness, your engagement, your generosity, it turns this space into an altar of encounter. Chosen one. This isn't performance, this is partnership. Heaven doesn't build ministries, it builds movements. And movements are sustained by hearts like yours. Every time you participate, whether by sharing the message, subscribing to stay connected, or giving so others can be reached, you extend the reach of heaven itself. Your support becomes wings for these words, carrying them to places we'll never physically go. Somewhere across oceans, someone will hear your shared post and feel the same warmth filling their room right now. That's how the kingdom moves quietly, through connection. And while your giving may look like money, time, or attention, in heaven's record, it's all the same worship. Every act of faith adds another brick to the unseen structure of light. God is building through His chosen ones. So as this new atmosphere settles over you, let gratitude rise. You are standing in a realm where peace breathes, where purpose awakens, where heaven draws near enough to touch. Feel it, the clarity, the calm, the quiet authority now resting in your chest. That's not imagination, that's indwelling. The Spirit of the Lord has moved in. Chosen one, cherish this presence. Let it overflow into your words, your work, your interactions. Let it soften your tone, brighten your perspective, and fuel your purpose. Because this shift isn't temporary, it's transformation. And when you take a moment to comment beneath this message, don't do it for formality. Write what you feel. It could be a single sentence, a prayer, or even just gratitude. These comment sections have become like living altars, places where testimonies breathe, where strangers connect, where heaven listens. You never know who will read your words and find strength to keep going. Every small action ripples. Every spark counts. Every offering sustains light. Together, we are weaving a global tapestry of faith, thread by thread, flame by flame, heart by heart. So, breathe deeply. The air has changed, and so have you. Heaven has filled your atmosphere, and through you, it's about to fill the world. When divine presence lingers, it doesn't come merely to comfort, it comes to command. The angel that now stands beside you carries not only blessing but orders. Heaven never visits without purpose. And this is the hour of your new assignment. You've been refined, awakened, and crowned. Now, you are being commissioned. The voice you hear within, gentle but firm, is not imagination. It's instruction. For a long time, you've prayed, Lord, show me what to do next. Now the answer has come, though not in the way you expected. The angel's message is not a list of tasks, but a call to transformation. You're being asked to move differently, to think differently, to carry yourself as one sent. The new marching orders aren't about doing more, they're about becoming more. Heaven is less interested in your activity than in your alignment. The Spirit whispers, "Walk as one who knows. Know that you are covered, chosen, and commissioned." Everything you touch in this next season will carry traces of heaven if you walk in obedience. The Revelation speaks to this moment with clarity. In chapter 3, verse 8, "Behold, I have set before you an open door, which no one can shut." That open door is not a metaphor, it's a reality forming before your eyes. You've been knocking for years, and now the latch has lifted. What seemed unreachable has become accessible. But before you step through, you must understand something profound. Every open door comes with a divine demand. You can't carry yesterday's mindset into tomorrow's opportunity. The weight of old fears cannot pass through the threshold of new beginnings. Chosen one. The orders heaven gives now are not to confine you, they are to liberate you. The instructions will come like sparks, simple, sudden, and strong. Speak to that person. Start that project. Forgive that name. Move in that direction. Don't overthink them, just obey. Every small act of obedience creates a ripple that will eventually reshape your entire path. You may not know where the steps lead, but heaven does. The new season you're entering requires trust, not explanation. The angel will not reveal every detail because faith must lead the way. If you saw the entire map, you'd depend on knowledge instead of trust. That's why the orders come piece by piece, so that your heart, not your logic, becomes your compass. You've already proven your endurance. Now you must practice your obedience. This assignment will require both courage and humility. Courage to move before you feel ready, and humility to remember. It's not your strength carrying you forward, but grace. Heaven's strength perfects itself through yielded vessels, not flawless ones. Your next chapter will not be written in comfort. It will be written in conviction. You are being called to step into roles that feel too large for you, because heaven delights in proving that weakness can still host glory. Do not shrink back from what feels beyond your capacity. That's where divine partnership begins. You will start noticing opportunities that stir both excitement and fear. Pay attention to those. The ones that stretch you are often the ones heaven arranged. You were not prepared for comfort. You were prepared for calling. Each moment that demands courage will also bring confirmation. The angel's command also carries this truth. Move in silence. Not everyone will understand what you're being instructed to do. Some will question. Others will criticize. But your orders don't come from them. You are accountable to the one who sent you. The more heaven elevates, the less explanation you owe to earth. This new assignment may require you to leave certain environments that once felt safe. The nest must break for the eagle to fly. The familiar will no longer fit you. And that's how you'll know it's time to move. Growth always feels like grief before it feels like freedom. Chosen one. Your marching orders are written in peace. Not panits. You won't have to force what's meant for you. The right doors will open without manipulation. The right people will appear without striving. Heaven's hand will guide every motion as long as you remain in surrender. What lies ahead is not random, it's rehearsed. Heaven has already walked the path you're about to take. The ground is prepared. The resources arranged. The protection secured. All that's required now is your yes. No. So listen carefully to the instructions echoing in your spirit. Write them down. Pray over them. And act swiftly when prompted. You are no longer wandering, you are walking under command. The days of waiting are over, the days of working under divine guidance have begun. And as you move, remember, the angel walks with you still. Every step you take echoes in eternity. Every act of obedience multiplies. Heaven's reach through your life. The open door is before you now, and behind it lies everything you were created to become. The angel has come. The message has been spoken, and the command has been released. Yet now, chosen one, heaven reveals something even greater. The visitation was never only about you. The moment you said yes to the divine call, your life became a living message. You are not merely the recipient of heaven's word, you are the embodiment of it. You have become the sign. For so long, you believed that the miracle would happen to you. Now, heaven shows you that the miracle is happening through you. The same light that once reached you through another's voice now shines outward through your own life. The atmosphere shifts not only because you carry revelation, but because you have become revelation. You are the evidence of answered prayer. Somewhere, someone cried out for a sign that God still moves among humanity, and heaven sent you. Every healed wound on your soul now speaks louder than sermons. Every time you forgave, instead of retaliating. Every time you chose peace over panic, you were testifying without words. You have become living proof that grace is stronger than grief. That purpose survives pain. The prophet Isaiah captured this truth long ago. In chapter 60, verse 1, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon you." And that light is no longer something you wait to receive. It is something you release. You've stepped into the fullness of identity, the awareness that you were never meant to remain hidden. Your scars have turned into stained glass through which divine light shines beautifully. What once embarrassed you now empowers others. The very things that tried to destroy you have become the materials for your ministry. This is what it means to be chosen, not merely to be rescued, but to become a rescuer, not merely to be saved, but to be sent. Heaven didn't single you out to make you special, it set you apart to make you useful. You are a vessel of remembrance, a walking reminder that divine intervention still touches earth through human hearts. You've noticed it already. People come to you with burdens they can't explain, drawn by a peace they can't define. They sense something different about your presence, something healing about your words. That is not charisma, that is consecration. Heaven has anointed you as a carrier of restoration. You are the bridge between despair and hope, between silence and song. The angel's task was never only to deliver a message, it was to awaken a messenger, and that messenger is you. The visitation has completed its mission not when you received revelation, but when you became revelation. Now, heaven will use your story as a mirror for others to see their own reflection of redemption. There will come moments when you find yourself repeating words you don't remember planning, comforting strangers as if the sentences were placed in your mouth by another. That's because they were. The Spirit will speak through you in ways that transcend intellect. You'll realize that ministry isn't something you do, it's something you are. Chosen one. Your life has entered its prophetic phase. The ordinary becomes holy. Conversations become encounters. Work becomes worship. Every step you take leaves traces of divine presence, because the one who was visited now carries the visitor within. You are not walking away from the angel, you are walking with it. And with this realization comes humility deeper than ever before. Because when heaven flows through a human vessel, pride dissolves, you'll understand that your greatness lies not in your ability, but in your availability. You were chosen not because you were strong, but because you were willing. The light that now radiates from you isn't fragile. It's resilient, shaped by storms and refined by fire. It doesn't flicker with circumstances. It remains steady and sure, because it was born from endurance. The glory of the Lord upon you is not decoration, it's demonstration. It shows that divine grace can inhabit dust and turn it into something eternal. Soon, you will witness how your transformation ripples outward. Your words will inspire others to remember their worth. Your forgiveness will heal generations of bitterness. Your obedience will unlock blessings for people you may never meet. This is legacy, the invisible inheritance you leave through every act of love and truth. The angel's wings may lift now. The glow may fade. But the assignment continues through you. Heaven's presence will not depart. It will dwell. The encounter was not the destination. It was initiation. You have been anointed to live as a signpost pointing toward the kingdom. Chosen one. The journey has come full circle. The angel has spoken. The message has been received. And you now walk as the living echo of heaven's voice. But remember, this isn't the end. It's the continuation of everything that has begun inside you. Every word written here was meant to awaken something eternal within your heart. A flame that must not fade once the page closes. If these words have stirred your spirit, let them ripple outward. Share this light as freely as it was given to you. When you like and share, you're not chasing numbers, you're extending the reach of hope. When you subscribe, you're anchoring yourself to a stream of truth that will keep your flame burning strong. And when you take a moment to comment, even a few sincere words, they become testimonies, stones of remembrance for others still searching for faith in the dark. Your voice matters. Your presence carries weight. Together, our hearts form a chorus of light across the earth. Each click, each share, each comment, a spark that tells the world, the chosen ones are awake. End one. Carry the light forward. Heaven is still speaking through you.